In reality, it was often a tough, overcooked slab of beef that had been fried in a pan with lard, scorched into obedience, and served with exactly zero garnish. If you asked for it medium rare, the cook would just stare at you until your mustache wilted. When fresh beef wasn't available, and let's be honest, it usually wasn't, saloons turned to other options: dried jerky, salted buffalo, occasionally venison, or even wild boar, if someone had gotten lucky on a hunt. And by lucky, we mean managed to hit it and drag it back before the buzzards did. In mining towns or far-flung settlements, meat got more creative: squirrel stew, rattlesnake roast, roast jackrabbit with seasoning. If it had legs and didn't belong to a customer's horse, it was fair game. Sometimes you were served meat, and no one told you what it was. That was a sign to eat quietly and not ask questions. If you chewed too long or found something resembling a whisker, you just sipped your whiskey, nodded solemnly, and accepted your fate. There was also the risk of age. Some meats had been hanging around long enough to earn names. Cooks would slice off the bad parts, drown the rest in gravy, and tell you it was well-aged. If your plate twitched when you poked it, you were entitled to one raised eyebrow and nothing more. Still, when the meat was fresh and the cook wasn't drunk, you might get a real meal. A sizzling slab of beef, a fried egg on top, and maybe a biscuit on the side. A plate that reminded you why people survived gunfights, for this. But most of the time, you ate what was there, and hoped it didn't eat you back. In a Wild West saloon, dessert wasn't really a category. It was more of a happy accident, the result of a cook with spare ingredients and a tiny sliver of mercy. But if there was one reliable sweetish comfort, it was cornbread, made from simple cornmeal, water or milk, lard, and sometimes a dash of baking powder, if the cook remembered. Cornbread was the Swiss Army knife of the frontier menu. It could be baked in pans, fried in skillets, or even dropped by spoonfuls into boiling stew if someone was in a hurry, or lazy. Alone, cornbread was dry, crumbly, slightly sweet, depending on who made it, and always best served fresh, which meant it was almost never fresh. More often, you'd get a wedge that had been sitting near the stove since sunrise, hardened like a miner's conscience. But here's where the magic happened. Molasses. A dark, sticky, syrupy miracle that turned dry cornbread into something just shy of glorious. It was the